The chair is taped to the floor for your own safety.
Thank you.
Sandy's wild with the microphone.
Well, I am a dancer, so you might get a little physical here. And that's the
Everyone
basis.
happy with that?
That's the basis for my question, actually. I've had the remarkably blessed experience of living in this body as a dancer and being shown the great contrast between connection to source and the initiation of every movement and the pain that comes through our physical experience. And I hit on this idea that was about sort of spiritual geometry, that the shortest distance between two people is in fact dance. That is so compelling to so many, and yet so fearful to so many more. That dance as an art form has its small audience, but it has a much larger audience, at least in our country right now, that really fear it almost. They shy away from it and say, well, I don't understand that. That's not something that I can really relate to. And yet, in my mind and my experience, it's the most essential human expression that I've ever experienced. And I'm wondering...
So you think it would be good if more people would personally participate in the deliciousness of it?
Absolutely.
You've hit upon, perhaps, the most essential, anyway, it's the easiest way for us to explain something that is a basis of contradiction in the vibration of people. And that is that when you're in alignment, one of the things that you like so much about dance is that through experience, you can tell when you're dancing from inside the vortex and when you're dancing from outside the vortex. You can tell when you're in the flow. You can tell when you're tuned in. You can tell when all of that rhythm and all of that understanding is flowing through you. And the joy is extraordinary under those conditions. So you know what it's like to be in alignment. And it's what we're talking about all day, every day. Alignment when you're having a conversation with someone in the elevator. Alignment when you're having a meal. Alignment, get into the vortex, and then we've been saying. But so many people are not understanding the deliciousness of blending their energies with who they really are so that the whole of them is having this moment. In other words, you're bringing us fast right here to the subject that we most want to talk about, which is here you are in your physical body, but when you choose to practice vibrations that allow consistent alignment with who you are, then the whole of you is out here focused in this leading edge experience. So your clarity is such, your movement is such, your vitality is such, your energy is such, you are enhanced. It's like the whole of you is present in this moment. And you bring all of us with you. In other words, that's why it feels like such ecstasy when it happens in that way. So we're talking about alignment. So many people are, instead of being aware of who they are and having any conscious awareness of the relationship with who they are, they have put that guidance outside of them. So their happiness often comes when somebody holds them as their object of attention and approves of what they see. That does feel good, doesn't it? When someone who is tuned in to source is holding you as their object of attention and appreciating you or approving of you, it feels good because it's like a shortcut version to you to the stream temporarily, as long as they're holding you in their gaze. But what happens when they look somewhere else? When they're distracted in some way, you feel like a puppet that someone has let go of the strings. And so what we're really talking about here is far more than the subject of dance. It's the subject of alignment. And the reason that so many people are not wanting to dance is because they've proven to themselves that they cannot trust others to approve of them. Because they're asking so many people who aren't tuned in, who aren't feeling good, who aren't seeing through the eyes of source, to hold them as their object of attention. So when someone out of the vortex is looking at you, they might not like what you're wearing. When someone outside the vortex is looking at you, they can't give you what they don't have. They can't flow love and appreciation to you unless they're tuned into it themselves, you see? And so what you want to help people to understand, if you are a teacher of dance or a teacher of alignment, which really we agree with you is one and the same, you want to help them to understand that they have their priorities a little out of whack because they're carrying what that guy and that guy and that guy and that guy and that guy are thinking about them instead of having paid attention to their alignment with who they really are. You know, you tell people all the time, you just have to let go, you just have to not care, you just have to let it flow. And often the rhythm of music, the beat of the music, the sound of the music, sometimes you can distract people into that feeling of all of that, you see. But if we were teaching it as you are, we would start with that, if they're ready to hear it. We would say, there is a part of you that wants to dance, and there's a part of you that loves every part of you. Esther discovered some time ago. She and Jerry were meditating with the music on, and she began to notice that she was feeling rhythm in her body that she had not ever felt before from that state of alignment. When she stood up, the first time she watched Michael Jackson do the moonwalk, she understood how he was doing it. As she watched him moving, she could feel that he was tuned into source energy and that the variety of source was helping him feel the different rhythms in his body. So he was getting all kinds of impulses to different muscles in his body that were coming from different places, you see. All source energy flowing to him. The best of dancers are those who are tuned into the rhythm of source, you see. Yeah.
Beautiful.
It
Thank
is.
you.
It is. So where do you want to go with this? In other words, so you acknowledge this. You've known this for a long time. So how do you get someone? This is a question for any teacher. How do you get someone who's not accustomed to being tuned into who they really are? How do you get them to let loose of what's holding them under the water so that their cork can float and they can soar? How do you go about that? How do you go about getting someone to do that?
Focus on the feeling.
But how can we help them know who they are? By knowing who they are. By knowing who they are. By knowing who we are. By being in the vortex. By being clear about who we are. And by practicing the positive aspects. You see, as you notice they're not dancing, you're not helping. As you notice that they're afraid to dance, you're adding to that. But as you know that there's a part of them that wants, and you can call it dance or alignment, it doesn't matter. We see them as you do, as one and the same. Because when you are to watch the children, see how they skip and run and leap and yell. See how they express their joy of life so easily and so eagerly until they've been disapproved of for a while, until they've been made to be self-conscious, until they've been made to be compared by others. And so in your appreciation of them, but you got to be tuned in to that source energy, and then say to them, in time, you can help them to understand the way they feel when they are in alignment and the way they feel when they don't. People flock to you because they enjoy the feeling that you have when you are tuned in like that. We all teach through the clarity of our example, don't we? And there are a lot of teachers who see a problem, walk right over there and stand next to the problem, disconnect themselves from all energy and resources of well-being, and then try to get to the bottom of the problem. And we say, there's no bottom. There's no bottom. Law of attraction will show you more and more and more and more. And that's why so often when you have something that feels uncomfortable to you, you feel a problem, and you make the enormous mistake of expressing it to another person, especially an Abraham student who is so well-meaning, who wants to help you. That's why someone focusing with you on your problem, you want to run away in time. You don't even want, because that added attention to it makes it more good. So, something more, or you feel you're feeling complete about it?
I'm complete.
Go for it then. Dance.
Okay, great. Thank you.